Hey guys, gizmoddict here, and this is the camera comparison between the Redmi K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro. So this has been the most requested video on my channel, and today we're gonna finally figure out which phone has the better camera between these two and by how much. So let's not waste any more time, let's get started with this video. But then I just have a small request for you guys. It took me a lot of efforts and money to import the Redmi K20 Pro so that I could bring these videos out for you. So if you can just subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to support the channel, that would be great. And if you have the Redmi K20 Pro or the OnePlus 7 Pro or any other new device that is available in the market, do check out my sponsor gizmoddict.com. These guys have one of the best tempered glasses in India for majority of the smartphones. Their real curved glasses are one of the best that I've ever used on any phone. They've got actual 2.5D curved edges. So do check out gizmoddict.com and don't forget to use the promo code GIZMO to get 10% discount on your order. Now let's get started with this comparison. So if we talk about the camera setup on the Redmi K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro, these could not have been more similar. So you've got the primary Sony IMX586 sensor, so the 48 megapixel sensor on both of these phones. Then you've got a secondary telephoto lens, so the OnePlus is a 2.2x telephoto lens and the one on the K20 Pro is a 2x telephoto lens. And then finally you've got a wide angle lens, so 13 megapixel wide angle lens on both of these phones. So basically you've got triple camera setup on the back, and both of these phones also get a pop-up camera on the front. So the OnePlus 7 Pro has a 16 megapixel sensor and the Redmi K20 Pro has a 20 megapixel sensor. And both of these phones also get camera to API support, so Google camera is supported. Hence I've divided this comparison into two parts. So first we're going to compare the stock cameras on the Redmi K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro. Then we'll switch over to Google camera and see how much difference does it make. So let's get started with the stock camera comparison between the K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro. So I want to start with selfies first in the stock camera app, and as you can see, the OnePlus 7 Pro is definitely better than the Redmi K20 Pro. The Redmi K20 Pro surely has more background blur, but then if you see the overall image, the K20 Pro tends to blow out the background and the highlights in the overall scene. On the OnePlus 7 Pro, the dynamic range is slightly better. It's not perfect, but then it's still slightly better than the Redmi K20 Pro. And even the skin tones are better from the output taken from the OnePlus 7 Pro. So I think in terms of selfies, the OnePlus 7 Pro gets a slight edge over the Redmi K20 Pro. And then we move on to the rear facing camera, and first we'll talk about the photos in indoor lighting. So here, as you can see, OnePlus does a great job with respect to colors as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. If you see the reds and the greens, they pop out more on the OnePlus 7 Pro as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. So I like the color reproduction on the OnePlus. These are subtle differences, but then when you put these photos side by side, you can notice that OnePlus has a slightly better output as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. And then when you zoom into the photos as well, OnePlus does a very good job at noise reduction as well. So the Redmi K20 Pro clearly has more noise as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro, and the image processing in indoor conditions is actually very good on the OnePlus cam. So yeah, while both of these phones do a very good job, I think it's the OnePlus 7 Pro that clearly takes a lead as compared to the K20 Pro. Similarly, when we move on to the extreme low lighting conditions, you've got nightscape on the OnePlus 7 Pro and you've got the night mode on the Redmi K20 Pro. Here, hands down, once again, I think OnePlus did a better job as compared to Xiaomi. I don't think Xiaomi's output is bad, but then when you put in front of OnePlus, I think they've done a tremendous job with nightscape. So I really like the images taken in the nightscape mode as compared to the night mode on the Redmi K20 Pro. So once again, in low light, my pick would be the OnePlus 7 Pro. But then the biggest surprise was when we moved to the outdoor conditions. Here, surprisingly, in most of the photos, the Redmi K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro were similar. But then what was kind of weird is that K20 Pro has more details in every single photo as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro. I don't know what's wrong with OnePlus's processing, but you zoom into any photo and the K20 Pro will have more details than the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that's definitely a big plus for the K20 Pro. In daylight, it has more details as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro. Another thing that I noticed was that both of these phones were on Hdr Auto Mode, but then the OnePlus 7 Pro kind of has worse shadows as compared to the K20 Pro. I'm zooming into the photos right now in the darker regions, and as you can see, K20 Pro clearly has more detailing. It has more light in those areas as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro. This didn't happen in each and every photo, but then in a lot of them, I did see that K20 Pro did a better job in terms of shadows as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that's definitely something that I was not expecting, and OnePlus clearly needs to work on their software processing in daylight conditions. It's not as good as the Redmi K20 Pro. The Redmi K20 Pro also messed up in 2 or 3 situations where it did blow out the highlights quite a bit, but then if you take an average, I think the images in daylight were more pleasing on the K20 Pro. Lastly, if we talk about the rear camera portrait, so here you get 2 options on the Redmi K20 Pro. If you're going to use the normal portrait mode, it will be using the 2x telephoto lens, but then if you switch to the full body mode, then it's going to use the IMX586 primary sensor. So that's pretty cool because on the OnePlus 7 Pro you can only use the zoom lens, there is no option to use the primary lens. But even then, if I compare the portrait mode output from both of these phones, I feel that OnePlus did a better job as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. The telephoto lens on the K20 Pro is honestly not that good because when you take portrait mode photos from it in indoor conditions, a lot of noise creeps in. So I would suggest you to keep the full body mode on the Redmi K20 Pro. But then I personally like the rear camera portraits on the OnePlus 7 Pro. It does give you that very good blur effect. You've got that 3x lens, so the overall output is very good. You have to stand quite farther from the subject, but I think the quality is might as well worth it. Both of these phones also get a wide angle lens, and honestly the output was kind of inconsistent from both of them. In some photos the wide angle shots from the OnePlus 7 Pro had more detailing, and then in some other photos the wide angle shots from the Redmi K20 Pro had more detailing. So you be the judge and decide which one did you like better, but I'm gonna just tell you 2 things. The Redmi K20 Pro's wide angle lens is a bit wider as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro, plus Xiaomi allows you to record videos in the wide angle mode on the Redmi K20 Pro. You can record up to 4K videos on the K20 Pro with the wide angle lens, but then OnePlus has no such options and they don't have any plans to introduce the wide angle mode video recording anytime soon. So if you want to record videos with the wide angle lens, the K20 Pro is the only option. You don't get any such thing on the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that was the stock camera app on the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Redmi K20 Pro. Now let's switch things up and go to the Google camera on both of these phones. Do note that Google camera is only working with the primary lens. None of these phones have support for the secondary lens. On the OnePlus 7 Pro you can actually root your phone and get support for all the 3 phones, but majority of the people are not gonna do that. And on the K20 Pro there is support for telephoto lens right now, but then the output from it is pretty greenish. So I think this would be fixed in a future update, but I'm gonna just use the Gcam APKs that are available for both of these phones as of now. So as soon as we switch to Google camera, the tables are completely turned, and as you can see in outdoor conditions, the OnePlus 7 Pro has much better dynamic range, the colors are much better, and overall the image looks a lot more pleasing as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. I would like to point out that I'm running custom settings on my OnePlus 7 Pro which were available on the Hdr developers website, so which is why it has better colors, the dynamic range is better. The only downside of these settings is that the highlights are kind of blown out in some of the photos, but then the overall gain in the image is worth that small compromise. So as of now such settings are not available for the Redmi K20 Pro, but then as and when the Google camera app improves, I will be making an updated video about it, because a lot of people in India haven't gotten the K20 Pro yet. They will be getting it next month, so developers will get it and then we'll have more better Gcam APKs. So as of now I think OnePlus has a better output, the overall image quality is very good, and the same trend continues in the indoor conditions. So in the indoor conditions as well, OnePlus 7 Pro has much better colors, and if we talk about noise reduction, OnePlus 7 Pro does an amazing job as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. Seriously, there is a big difference here, and the output from the OnePlus 7 Pro is much superior to that of the Redmi K20 Pro. And the story repeats in the low lighting mode. Now you've got night sight in the Google camera app on both of these phones, and while both of them do a great job, I think OnePlus 7 Pro had more accurate colors. So all of these photos were shot in some sort of yellow lighting, so the OnePlus captures it perfectly. But then the photos on the Redmi K20 Pro are more on the cooler side. But then still the output from the K20 Pro is also very good. There is less noise, a lot of things are visible as compared to your standard night mode. So I like the output from both of these phones. It's just that OnePlus has slightly more accurate colors. The rear camera portraits are also something that I preferred on the OnePlus 7 Pro, and if we talk about selfies as well, I think OnePlus did a slightly better job. The overall skin tones and dynamic range and the overall photo looks a little more better on the OnePlus 7 Pro as compared to the Redmi K20 Pro. So when we talk about Google camera, my pick would be the OnePlus 7 Pro. Then we move on to the video recording on the Redmi K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro, and both of them can record 4K video at 60 FPS. There is stabilization as well on both of them, but then the OnePlus 7 Pro also gets optical image stabilization. So when you see the footage from both of these phones, it's very evident that how OIS helps the OnePlus 7 Pro. The electronic stabilization on the Redmi K20 Pro seems a little jittery sometimes. It doesn't look as smooth as the OnePlus 7 Pro when you watch both of the footage side by side. But regardless, the output from the K20 Pro is also very good. You don't get any of those frame drop issues or lagging issues that you had on the Redmi Note 7 Pro. So Xiaomi has taken care of that. I actually tried recording 4-5 videos at 4K 60 FPS in one go, back to back, to see if it's having any throttling issues. But then fortunately there are no throttling issues, the frame rates are perfect and you don't have to worry about it. So then overall, what's the conclusion of this camera comparison? Well, as expected, if we consider the stock camera as well as Google camera, the OnePlus 7 Pro as of now is a clear winner. But then when we compare the stock camera, I'm really surprised how close the Redmi K20 Pro is getting to the OnePlus 7 Pro. It's kind of surprising how this phone performs, and especially in terms of daylight, I preferred the output from the K20 Pro as compared to the OnePlus 7 Pro. So that was quite surprising, and if I have to be honest, I'm genuinely blown away by how the camera on the K20 Pro is performing. So personally, I don't think the 25,000 rupees premium is worth it for the OnePlus 7 Pro if you only talk in terms of camera. Yeah, if you're gonna put other things into the equation like warp charging, this curved 90Hz display and things like that, of course the OnePlus 7 Pro is better. But if we only talk about the camera, I don't think that price difference is worth it. The difference in the pricing is not proportional to the difference in quality, and if you are a casual user like me who doesn't take a lot of photos and you majorly just take photos to post on social media, I think the Redmi K20 Pro is more than enough for you. Just install Google camera on it. The port is gonna get better with the coming months as well, and I don't think you will have any complaints with the camera performance on the Redmi K20 Pro. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the cameras of the Redmi K20 Pro and the OnePlus 7 Pro. I will be making a more detailed comparison covering everything else very soon, so if you guys don't want to miss that out, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. If you guys have any feedback about this camera comparison, then please let me know in the comments, and if you guys want more behind the scenes content, you can always follow my Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages. I'm gonna make a lot of videos about the Redmi K20 Pro. I actually have made a lot of videos, so I'll link them down below in the description, so do watch that out. And if you guys want the best tempered glass for your phone, then do check out glazeding.com. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna be back in our notifications very soon. Peace.